And welcome back to the Gentleman of Crypto episode 1317. Today is Wednesday, March 26, 2025, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. ish or 7 a.m. ish. My bad. So today I was supposed to be doing an interview at 8 a.m. So I know some of you might be logging on late or see this, but hey, how did I miss a show? Whatever. The gentleman from the CEO from the team I was supposed to do the interview with, Dell DeFi. Unfortunately, they had an emergency yesterday. They had to reschedule. So hopefully we'll have them back here in a couple of weeks. But everything has been confirmed. They just had to reschedule. So instead, I just like, hey, let's just go ahead and do a show today. With that being said, tomorrow, Thursday, there will be no show, and I'll be back on Friday. Okay. Other than that, top stories of the day. SEC plans 4 more crypto roundtables on trading, custody, tokenization, and DeFi. SEC closes investigation into Immutable nearly 5 months after Wells notice. Fidelity plans stablecoin launch after Sol ETF regulatory litmus test. Polymarket faces scrutiny over a $7 million Ukraine mineral deal bet. And crypto influencer Bitboy Armstrong has been arrested in Florida, is being said here. That and more, we'll be talking about that. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these prices. I know you all love to talk prices in crypto and Bitcoin. So without further ado, let's get into it. Bitcoin is coming in sideways, $87,248, down 0.34%. Ethereum, $2,036, down 1.19. Number 4, Ripple, $2.42, down 0.53. 6, Solana, $141, down 2.1%. 8, Dogecoin, 19 cent, up 6% actually. Cardano, number 9, 75 cent, down 0.35. And Tron at number 10 at 22 cent, 0.229 cent, up 0.66%. Fear and Greed Index has risen again, is now at 34. Bitcoin dominant 60.5, Ethereum at 8.6. And those are your prices on the day. And forewarning, I'm telling you now, shout out to Jake for this cool Ben Dope hat. You may see me with some more hats in the near future. My new agency wants me to grow up my hair for some photos and stuff. You know, that's a process a little bit. So y'all about to see some hats early in the morning. I got time to be waking up super early, get my hair all beautiful and stuff. This is a YouTube show. I'm not on CNBC somewhere, okay, or MSNBC. I probably still wouldn't do it there. I think it would be cool to see me in my natural form there as well. All right, let me get some quick shout outs before we get this show rolling. I had to do the show today. I was thinking about canceling today, but I was like, listen, I'm not going to shortcut you, okay? If there's real news stories and I have the time, I'm going to cover it. I was thinking about canceling because late yesterday, I didn't see that many news stories. I did see the Bitboy news. Shout out to the Warriors in the Discord. I saw that. When I woke up, I saw a few more stories. I was like, oh, we rolling today. I got too excited. This is the way it works. I usually start reading some stories early, and depending on my level of excitement, it depends on if I jump into. I started getting excited today. I was like, oh man, we got ourselves a show. Really quick, what's going on? Memories of Mike, Satoshi Slim, Magnolia Pelican, BK Crypto, Dub Proof, Joe Muhammad, Wisdom Bars, King Kufu, good morning, Satoshi Slim. Let's see. You said he probably finally watched episode of the show. Yeah, honestly, I think that's what happened. So Satoshi said, I can't even say what I laughed. Satoshi Slim said he probably finally watched an episode of the show and needed to reset his shit show product. LOL, just kidding. I hope that's not what it was, but essentially, I sent the email. I was like, yeah, my audience is smart, so like, I was like, let me know what y'all, let me know how I can help guide this thing. I want projects to come on here and be successful. I don't want to come on here and give them take them to task or whatever. But I also agree with that. To be honest, I didn't want to go that far. That's why I say everything's been confirmed. The business has been handled. There's no that. But as far as the last email I said, it was like, yeah, like make sure y'all got y'all stuff together before you come on live because it's not the biggest show. I get it. But these Warriors are something smart, folks, and they got capital. So you don't want to make a mistake your first time them seeing you, whatever. And I honestly do think that's what it was. They was like, all right, well, now that you sent this email, they was like, let's get back to the drawing board for a couple of weeks and we'll come back ready. So I possibly think that's what it was. Whatever, they'll be here here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you can ask the questions, ask away. And hopefully, and I'm sure they'll have a superior product by then as well. They got a couple more weeks to work on. So there's that, but that will circle back around. No worries. Top story of the day. SEC. SEC is all in the news. SEC plans 4 more crypto roundtables on trading, custody, tokenization, and DeFi. And I mean, hey, hand clap. That is what I'm talking. Like, there we go. This Well, this was the craziest thing that they're just now doing all this, and they've already had so many rules and guidelines and extortion plays, and now they're like, "All right, come to the table, let's talk about everything." Shout out to the SEC for changing and adapting. They've been walking back the SEC their historic hardline stance on crypto under the Trump administration, having held its first crypto roundtable earlier in March. Well, it looks like, and that was on March 21st. Looks like the series of roundtables organized by the SEC's crypto task force will kick off with a discussion on tailoring regulation for crypto trading on April 11th. The SEC said in a March 25th statement. A roundtable on crypto custody will follow on April 25th with another discussion to discuss tokenization and moving assets on chain on May 12th. The fourth roundtable in the series will discuss DeFi on June 6th. So here are the dates. I will say this now that I actually have the dates ahead of time. I will look into this to see, how to participate, how to get to one or whatever. These are some doable dates for sure. For sure. Low key, I love DC anyway. I've been thinking about moving back to DC. I know DC's one of the DC's one of the places I thought about, folks. I've thought about it a few times because they have a lot of things as far as diversity is what I'm looking for in a city. But there's a reason to go back there is my point anyway. So I don't need no reason to go back to DC. The Crypto Task Force roundtables are an opportunity for us to hear a lively discussion among experts about what the regulatory issues are and what the commission can do to solve them. The SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce, the task force lead, said. The specific agenda and speakers for each roundtable have yet to be disclosed, but are open, but are all are open to for the public to watch online or to attend at the SEC's headquarters in Washington D.C. So, again, not sure how they're going to have this as far as people actually speaking. Like I said, speakers, how they're going to moderate it, so on and so forth. But the positive thing is that they're finally doing this is what democracy looks like. You say you're going to do something, you ask the public, the people who vote, put you in power, pay you, how they feel about it, and then you move forward with plans. So I'm happy to actually see this happening. Shout out to the SEC. And shout out to every participant that goes. Hopefully, we have that spark that ignites something that the government hasn't seen yet, or something that will move this market forward in a super mature way. So again, happy to see it, but we shall see what happens. Will these be more agents? And what did they say on the last one? Agents just trying to sell whatever they're trying to sell to the government, or will they have like open conversation where there won't just be billionaires in the room? I just saw today the new SEC guy, or whatever, Atkins or whatever they're talking about hiring. Where it was, I actually read that article, which is why I did not cover it. Yeah, I saw the article. SEC nominee Atkins discloses at least $327 million in assets ahead of confirmation hearing. Again, not going into that article in depth, but I will say just from that headline, yeah, the new SEC commissioner may already be 100 millionaire, if not on his way to a billionaire. They're going to be taking care of their billionaire friends. We've already seen this. So I just want to see, will you have regular mom and pops, retail investors, low level crypto folks at these meetings, or will there only be like the Coinbase Brian Armstrongs, the BitMEX is this, the Binance's team of this? Like, will it only be the billionaires of crypto? It remains to be seen. But the first one's coming up here. It looks like what was the first date? I think it said April 11th. So here it is. We'll, as I always say, we'll know sooner rather than later. And this time we will know in 2 weeks. All right, still on the SEC. They're still copping pleas and deuces, apologizing. People, SEC closes investigation into Immutable nearly 5 months after Wells notice. The crypto gaming firm behind Ethereum Layer 2 Immutable X said it received a letter of termination from the SEC that didn't explain why it ended its probe. Again, you cannot use taxpayer dollars and then just stop using it. It doesn't work like that. This is why the whole thing, when it comes to actual criminal law, this is why in court, in many states, I'm not sure if it's in every state, but in many states, a couple things happen. First of all, it doesn't take another person to chart, like to get another person in court, right? Let's say you've done something criminal against me in California. The prosecutor is going to pick it up regardless. Like if you violently do hurt me, if you violently do anything to me, it's not about if I want to press charges. Even if I say, you know what, I'm good, man. I don't want to press charges. Guy made a mistake, whatever. The government here in California can say, no, 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 we're gonna press some charges for you. We're gonna hold this person accountable. Now they do it just in case people get scared or witness intimidation and things of that sort. But a lot of it is just like the business side of it as well, where it's like You've used taxpayer dollars already as far as figuring out who you need to arrest and who you need to charge and so on and so forth. They're not going to drop it, right? Like this is a business deal, it being a criminal case. They're not going to just drop it because you decide you don't want to do it. And the same thing works with the SEC. The same thing works with any criminal prosecution in the United States or most other taxpayer funded things in the United States. Once it gets started, once it gets rolling, it doesn't just stop suddenly and with especially without an explanation. You've used taxpayer funds. If you don't explain why you stopped doing whatever you're doing or you didn't see it through, it could be seen as waste, fraud, and abuse. And that's the way I'm looking at this. You don't get to start a 5-month investigation into a some crypto project no one's ever heard of or asked you to do, and then come back and say, well, we terminated the investigation. There's no reason why. Well, shit, give us a tax. See, I was trying not to use profanity on the show no more. Give us the taxpayer money back there. If you cancel the contract, you cancel going after them, send us the money back you used to go after them that resulted in nothing. Again, I understand the deals that are being made with these, like essentially the backroom deal that's being made and no one's talking about publicly between the SEC and all these projects is that we will drop our investigations into your well notices, our subpoenas. We'll stop all the extortion into crypto companies if you all don't counter sue. Now, I know the reason why everyone isn't countersuing isn't because the SEC really is more or less the administration right now. You got to remember a lot of these crypto companies put the money, put the battery in the back of the current president and administration. They put the money there for him to be there, right? So they are really doing him a favor. And I'm sure he's asking him and his team is asking for the favor, like, yo, if you sue the SEC right now, you're not suing them, you're suing the Trump administration. Like, we'll have to deal with this. So I'm sure they're saying, please, we'll drop everything. We won't fine you. No, you don't have to say anything, no guilty or whatever or innocent. We'll make this go away. We're just asking you not to countersue. Again, I get the reason why the overall crypto market is not countersuing is for the Trump administration. However, the SEC goes further than the Trump administration. Trump administration will only be here another 4 years. The SEC will continue to be here. So with that being said, I think we're actually doing ourselves as a crypto community a disservice by not countersuing. By not countersuing in the eyes of all Americans, the SEC has been right and is still being right as of now. I really think all of these Ripple, Immutable X, library credits for Veritasium, Coinbase. I mean, how many companies can I really just name off the top of my head? They need to do a class action lawsuit, a counter class action lawsuit against the SEC from 2 points of view, from the company's point of view. So again, from Coinbase's, Immutable X, and all of them, and then from their investors, their clients, us, the end users' point of view. I wanted them to do another one where they say, no, no, no. This one is for us as a company, but this one is for the people we represent as a company because those numbers would dwarf any like number out there. I think that's the only way to hold them accountable because if not, all that's going to happen is fine. We'll placate President Trump. We got it. We get it. Yes, yes, yes. And in 4 years, if the SEC goes back to how they were, they'll get new people in and they'll restart all of these lawsuits. That's what you all have to understand. By them dropping this and not explaining why, and there's not official judgments and in any of these rulings, they can pick it back up in 4 years. There's nothing stopping them from the literature that's out now from picking up all of these cases in 4 years. And in 4 years, all these companies like Immutable X, all they would have to say was, well, hold on, let me go through my emails. We got the one email and letter that said they were going to drop it. And in the court in 4 years from now, I'm like, okay, well, why did they decide to drop it? Well, I don't know. Well, what did they tell you? Well, I don't know. Well, okay, well, what judgment or paperwork do you have that they dropped it? Well, I don't know. Well, then hell, that was the SEC from 4 years ago. Your ass is in court this year. I would strongly suggest to crypto companies again, I understand why they're not doing it. They got to tell President Trump administration, sorry about this one, but this needs to be pushed forward. Go after the SEC. Do not 48 laws of power. You don't give them room to breathe and retreat. What are you doing? Put your foot on their throat and finish the job. The SEC tried to finish the job for the crypto community. Why are we suddenly saying like, all right, let them up, man, let them up. No, pack them out. Max out time, baby. You wanted to go crazy? We going crazy. Stomp on them, step on them. Do not let them up. I know it's not going to happen because again, the Trump administration did gift us this market right now, and I think a lot of these companies that's coming with the deal. They're saying we're dropping it, but you can't come back after us. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I'm telling you, behind closed doors, I would be calling other crypto companies getting ready for a full on attack on the SEC. They're super weak right now. They don't have a boss or a leader, and they're apologizing essentially for all the wrongdoing they committed over 4 years. How crazy is that? They can just come out with the email or a letter and say, all right, my bad, we're done. But if it hadn't worked out like this, you would literally either be owing them millions or sitting in a prison cell or both simultaneously. Do you understand the consequences of what the SEC had over this market the last 10 years? You go to prison or we take your money or both. And for what? Same reason as right now. I don't know. We can't explain it. Some bankers called us. We heard it was a money play. We catching licks. Like that's all they could say to begin with. And now that this is over, they're still saying there's nothing we can say. We're just going to stop doing it to you. All right, slippery slope, dangerous game to play, but go ahead. Hey, I'm not Immutable X. I'm not Coinbase. They do what they want. But I'm telling you now, if you let the SEC slide right now, in 4 years when they're back stronger, we get a new administration. Oh, you think they're gonna forget this? All this money on the table? What? All right. Remember where you heard it first. What else we got going on? Polymarket faces scrutiny over $7 million Ukraine mineral deal bet. That's right. It may be too good to be true. Polymarket's Trump Ukraine mineral deal bet sparked a backlash as a well-controlled vote settled it incorrectly, raising concerns over manipulation and governance risk. Now, if you remember, Polymarket has been under scrutiny from different governments around the world. Excuse me, United States had it under scrutiny because of the Trump Kamala Harris bet as far as who's going to win. I believe it was another country. Was it Ukraine? It was another country who had it under scrutiny because they were saying who was going to win their election or what was going to happen next. It's a betting platform. Okay, it's a betting platform where you can bet on world events. However, a lot of people are saying, and you can see here, it was supposed to be the world's largest decentralized prediction market. But that whole decentralized thing is something that has always been under fire, not only with Polymarket, but for anyone who claims it, because most projects haven't shown the amount of decentralization you've seen in Bitcoin, and that's what people are looking for. But it looks like, again, a betting market on the platform asks whether US President Donald Trump would accept a rare earth mineral deal with Ukraine before April. That's actually a fun bet. Hilarious, too. Despite no such event occurring, the market was settled as yes, triggering a backlash from users and industry observers. So essentially, somebody was like, hey, hold on. Everyone said, no, this thing, or it hasn't happened. It's coming up, yes. And then you're finding out somebody needed a bunch of money from the deal. This may point to a governance attack in which a whale from the UMA protocol uses voting power to manipulate the oracle, allowing the market to settle false results and successfully profit, according to crypto threat researcher Vladimir S. And this is the problem in crypto. That game theory is like, if one person could take the pot of money or could do something that is dirty to the overall market but helps them, will they do it? Right? And for the most part, and this is really Bitcoin oriented, the ethos and the community around Bitcoin stuff, that isn't like the vibe most people want to do. Now, the entire crypto market, yeah, that mostly is the vibe. It's like dog eat dog. How can we get more money? Even if that means destroying a good market. I'm looking at you, Dogecoin fans. I'm looking at you, Hexicans. I'm looking at some of the Cardano folks, where it's just like, you're not adding. The Dogecoin technically did add because you can use it for practice. But when you all start trying to turn it into an economy, it's like you don't really care about the market or the financial economy or technology. You care about making the buck, which is okay as well. You know, I cater to both crowds, but you can't cry when things go wrong. And the people who are here to make a buck, more often than not, things are going to go wrong in your space because, again, it's game theory. It's about that one person winning all the money and being number one. It's not about sharing and sharing alike open source stuff and technology. No, it's about making that buck. So, again, this doesn't surprise me that in a place where it's only about making a buck, it turns out some things may be manipulated. The tycoon cast 5 million tokens through 3 accounts, accounting for 25% of the total votes. Polymarket is committed to preventing this from happening again, he wrote in a March 26 X post. Now, I will say this. Um, Depending on how this was deployed, because shout out to Jimmy Song, who came on before, he said there aren't any hacks or exploits. He said there are only the execution of smart contracts, which he has a great point. Essentially, he made the point that, hey, this stuff is code. It's up to the team to go back and do security audits and everything else to make sure the code is strong and that only what you want to happen can happen. Now, we know how difficult this is in coding and on the internet in general, because there's so many different ways to break code, right? To test it, to experiment, to play. There's a website, um, a website doesn't think you're going to try to ping it a million times in 1 minute, like a DDoS type of attack, right? So all you have to do is different things to break code or try to break code, but it doesn't mean that it technically went outside of the code, right? It executed the contract. So my first question, main question would this be like, whatever this person did, this tycoon, the way they did this, was it technically correct as far as the contract? Like, I know it manipulates the market, but was it actually correct? Like, he didn't do anything extra on the back end, right? Like, he didn't try to hack into the system and change something and then do it. Like, he saw a way to essentially play the system. So again, if that's the case where he didn't do anything outside of the normal code and he just put his money in different accounts and then made it look different to the AI, then that's one thing. It's a totally different thing if he fraudulently was like, no, I'm going to create a new market to do this and that and the other. Either way it goes, though, it looks like he just executed the code. Unfortunately, they just got to figure out the workaround around it. But again, it says on the other hand, one of the users claim it. Oh, see, I haven't read this article. I saw the headline, but I already know where they're going with it. On the other hand, one of the users claims that it wasn't an attack and it was the same validators who voted in every other market as well, just that the instructions on what to vote for this market came too late. Okay, so there it is again. And that's my question. I'm not going to do the deep dive. This isn't to figure out if this whole Polymarket fiasco was warranted or not, but they're facing scrutiny because people are saying, how could this happen if it was a no in real life and it became a yes on the digital side when it didn't happen yet? So I get the problem. I'm sure they're going to do more exploration into it. But like I said, that's what it really comes down to is like, was it a problem where this person added code or changed it or something? Or did they just look at the platform as is already and see an exploit and say, oh, all I had to do is add money to this pocket over here, and then they're going to think I have money over here. So again, that's something they had to figure out as a project. It's unfortunate it happened here, but the good thing is I don't think the Ukraine mineral deal debt, again, I haven't seen the markets. I know 7 million is a lot. Not sure how much this will already had in it, but this isn't the end all be all of poly market or the bets or deals, right? It raises eyebrows. Like I said, it brings scrutiny, but it does give them a chance to fix it. And from just scrolling down in front of you, it looks like something they were already talking about working on fixing it. So this does happen. This does happen. It is an Oracle, right? APIs and all this other stuff are being connected. They're saying now Poly Market won't issue a refund as well. They're saying, unfortunately, because this wasn't a market failure, we are not able to issue refunds. So that kind of goes along with my thoughts right now, where this wasn't like a market thing or even a platform specific thing as much as it was this person just knew how to manipulate the platform itself. So again, hopefully they patch it up, fix it up so it won't happen like that again. But you'll see this. You're seeing it now. You see it again in the future. You'll see it when it comes to the metaverse side of the house, when it comes to digitizing and tokenizing everything, especially real world assets. There's still that like said that little percent of a chance of things going wrong because it is coming from the real world to the digital side. So someone has to account for that, right? Somewhere, somehow it has to be accounted for. Now, I haven't used Polymarket, but just from reading that article, it seems like the way it works is based off of where capital flows into and then news articles at the same time. I would assume if you're using some type of AI algorithm, you use news articles as well to kind of say, like, are there enough news articles to say that a mineral deal went through, right? And if the answer is no to that, then Polymarket would bet no. That's what I would assume off the top of my head. Some of the indicators are there, but I'm sure they'll work on it. All right. In other news, another reason why I'm on today because I saw everybody sharing this article. Crazy news. Crypto influencer Bitboy Armstrong arrested in Florida. Hey, Ben had that fight, said I'm outside. It's official, okay? Ben Armstrong, also known as Bitboy, claimed on March 21st that he had a warrant for his arrest over emails to a judge. Oh, wow. Bitboy has been arrested in Florida after disclosing on social media just days ago that a warrant was out for his arrest. Florida's Volusia County Division of Corrections listed Armstrong as a fugitive from justice who was taken in custody on March 25th at 7:18 p.m. local time. Get out of here. This is crazy. Days prior, Armstrong said in March 21st X post that he could confirm that the warrants were for my arrest were due to sending emails to Cobb County, Georgia Superior Court Judge Kimberly Childs while acting as his own attorney. Ooh, I forgot the saying, but it's something like a fool, only like only a fool will represent themselves or something. Yeah, essentially, if you're your own attorney, they're saying that's a bad idea. Conflict of interest, so on and so forth. I can now confirm that the warrants for my arrest are due to me sending emails. You can see as my own attorney, by the way, to the dishonorable Kimberly Childs of Cobb County government, who has now deleted her Twitter. LMAO. Public officials hiding corruption one day at a time. Now, I will say this. I'm sure his army, the bid army, went after her, which is why she deleted her Twitter. But I mean, I'm already siding with Bitboy on this. Again, you cannot be in public positions and hide your hand and hide your head. So I don't even know what's going on, but I'm already with him. There's no reason why a judge who does have a public Twitter can all of a sudden backtrack and delete it. I agree. Like, why are you deleting your Twitter? And I even read this story. All I saw was a headline. I don't know what's going on yet. He also claimed that Judge Shouts had deleted her social media accounts due to the emails. Information on Armstrong lawyers was not immediately available. Armstrong could not immediately be contacted for a comment. I mean, would assume so. He's in jail. And all I want to say is this. This is the person a lot of the crypto community was listening to for crypto advice. Oh man, this I've been around too long in this space, man. I've been around. The people you all crown king here is amazing. But yeah, here it is. Wow, Bitboy's only 42. Holy smokes, I thought he was older. My man only got a few years on me. Holy shit. All money ain't good money. That is it right there. Bitboy is 42. Why do I think Bitboy is at least 46, 48? Holy smokes, he gotta live better, man. This is that boy look crazy. Oh man, that caught me off guard. Armstrong was previously arrested in September of 2023 while live streaming outside the house of a former business associate whom he alleged had possession of his Lamborghini. He's faced other legal woes as well. Class action lawsuit in March 23, claiming he promoted Binance and sold unregistered securities. We know that'll get tossed out with the SEC right now. It was settled in 2024. And see, oh my goodness, this was settled in 2024, and he had to pay a combined with his partner $340,000 in no omission or wrongdoing. This is my point about the taxes right now. If he would have waited, like legitimately, if he would have waited 6 months, he more than likely would not have had to pay anything. There wouldn't like promoted Binance unregistered securities. The SEC right now. Are you kidding me? Y'all got that money just in time. He wouldn't have had to pay anything. His picture explains it. This is the picture of someone who lost 100 and some thousand off of a legal decision. I understand that pain. I do actually. I feel you. That will turn you to the wild man. So I feel him. I feel. Hey, imagine if you lost that much money to a dirty business partner. Story to come, huh? Oh my goodness, it's crazy out here in these crypto streets, folks. What else do we have? I want to know what's going on right here. They keep talking about all the old stuff. They're talking about all the old stuff. Hold on. I'm trying to tell you. Fight night. He had the more light fight night, Mexico, February 24, 2024. Going back and forth. Yeah, they're not even going to the story. Armstrong managed to come out on top. Yeah, that was the fight a few months ago. Bitboy crypto brand cut ties with him in August 2023. So they're not even going in detail in this story. What exactly did he do to the judge? Somebody let me know in the comments. They're not going in detail here. I'm not sure what's going on. What did Bitboy do to this damn judge? Was he making terroristic threats in the email? Because that's all it takes. Don't I joke about the tar and feather. Don't email a judge. You got some tar and feather outside ready to go. They will arrest your ass. All right. Say code tar and feather. That way they know it's not dirty. Somebody let me know in the comments, man. What happened to Bitboy? I'm about to Google it on one other thing, but somebody said, "Oh, I can see that one. All right, we're having fun. All right, got a couple of minutes. We're gonna have some fun here." Somebody said, "Memories of Mike said bribe is my guess." I can see a bribe. He sent mean emails, said Jake. All right, the mean emails could definitely do it for some of these politicians and judges. What else we have? Hopefully, Bitboy can be SBF Selly. How crazy would that if Bitboy and SBF were cellmates together? Uh, Hyben said that stuff gets stronger every day. He's only 42. Boy, on that straight dog food, ain't he? They caught me off guard. I really thought he was older than that. Like, goodness gracious. DM Carr said, I got 5 years on dude, and I look 35. Listen, I'm on the wrong end on 30 right now, folks. I'm about to be 40 here soon. I'm just like, does it all happen like that in 1 year? Or like, what is going on? Jake Fever said, facts. She's using her power because she's mad. Free Bitboy till Bitboy free. I actually agree with that. And see, that's why, again, some people like my crypto take, some people don't, but I try my best to be objective, folks. I don't like being subjective in any part of life. There's no part of life I like being subjective in. I'm one of those people who, and I know some people's like, you say it now, but I really think I'm one of the people who had kids. Like, I got your back on a lot of crazy stuff for sure. But if you do something heinous to where I just can't get with, hey, good luck out there, buddy. In fact, hey, here he is. Y'all come get him because I don't co-sign this madness either. I don't know who taught him that, right? So I've been super objective my whole life. I like to keep it with crypto. With that being said, the same way I said with XRP Ripple years ago, where I didn't want to see them lose because that would mean the crypto market would lose. If this is a judge overstepping their bounds and getting mad because somebody on their ass, then yeah, let Bitboy free. That's crazy. That's crazy work. Let them free. You can't abuse power all because you're upset they got them to you through emails and Twitter too, because it doesn't sound like he pulled up to their front door, right? So yeah, if it's just that, let them go. However, if Bitboy was going crazy in them emails, sometimes people do go a little crazy in them emails and texts. If he was on that Michigan militia type of time with the governor, he like, oh no, you crazy B, we're gonna be kidnapping you by sundown and everything else. Then slow down. You got to come in and sit down and talk to the man about that. But if it's just some simple, you idiot, you can't do your job, blah blah blah. If it's one of those things, then definitely it's an overstep of power. I'm sure we will get more to this story here soon. So I'll be oh man, this is the problem. I don't read stories before we start. This is like the only reason why I came on the show today. That story and something else. I was like, I know people gonna want to talk about Bitboy. Oh, and this next story, last but not least, Fidelity plans stablecoin launch after Solana ETF regulatory litmus test. What did I tell you all? Like, I had to cover this because I've said this so many times with a lot of these applications, some of these whether it's in the actual application for the ETF itself. So, like for example, a Solana ETF application or an Aptos one and stuff. Remember what I kept saying? They're just stress testing the regulatory environment. They wanted to see like how much they can get away with what the regulatory environment was going to say no to. Once they said no, what were the reasons they were going to be getting, and so on and so forth. I called it a stress test, but yes, that's a litmus test. This is what I've been like. So essentially, this is why we're in a bubble right now, people. Everything that's happened this past year has been a test ground for institutions. So you get to talking Bitcoin ETFs, Michael Saylor's strategy, renaming his company to strategy. The SEC where it's head. This has all been a stress test to see how far and how wide they can go on the institutional corporate level. What do you mean how far, how wide? Like I said, so you are going to say yes to Solana ETFs? Okay, well, what about Aptos? Okay, you like that too? Well, okay, let's go down to number 23. All right, well, this one got this market cap. This had this laws against it. This had this issue. That these are all stress tests to see what the government's okay with, what they're going to allow, the timeline for it to be allowed, so on and so forth. When you're the size of Fidelity and BlackRock and so on and so forth, you're just sprinkling little things out there to see what's going to stick. Which ones are going to be the winners? And then once you have the winners, or once you see where the government's going and how they're going to vote and what you need to do to get them to vote a certain way, that's when you go back to the lab and say, all right, we had one or two projects we told them about. Let's get ready to unveil all 100 projects all at one time and just press them and press them and press them. So I do think that is what's going to come. But I want to highlight how even Fidelity is saying, yes, the Solana ETF was a regulatory litmus test. People, they're literally just trying to poke and prod and see what they can do right now. It's so crazy because they're using our government to do it. But financial institutions are also positioning themselves for upcoming U.S. stablecoin legislation, which may be finalized in the next 2 months. Fidelity is reportedly in the final stages of testing a U.S. dollar-pegged stablecoin, signaling the firm's latest push into digital assets amid a more favorable regulatory climate under the Trump administration. $5.8 trillion asset manager plans to launch the stablecoin through its crypto division, Fidelity Digital Assets, according to March 25th report by the Financial Times, citing anonymous sources familiar with the matter. So more to come on that, but the bottom line is yes, Fidelity has been testing the market, doing litmus testing on the regulatory market, and now they're planning to launch a stablecoin. I'm telling you, folks, I know what I'm talking about. They're not the only ones. Like the Black Rocks are doing this is nothing but testing. They did somebody trying to do an Apto stable ETF, people. Like if that ain't testing, I don't know what it is. Like they're just trying to see what the government's gonna okay and say nay to. But hey, shout out to Fidelity. Better late than never. Um, I made a lot of money with Fidelity years ago. I used to be a part of their traditional portfolios. At the time of Fidelity, when I was with Fidelity, I actually went from being with Fidelity doing traditional investments over to crypto. This was in 2016. And I never forget 2016, my financial advisor for Fidelity was telling me not to go into Bitcoin and crypto, right? Then I finally had to tell him, like, I'm gonna be doing like when the money started missing essentially monthly, because you remember I was on deployment in 2016. I got money going to Fidelity every month, I got money going whatever. When that started going shorter, because I was like, well, I'm gonna put some money in somewhere else, of course, I get the phone call. Hey, what's going on, we noticed you're not giving us this much money this month. I'm like, yeah, I finally decided to do Bitcoin. They're like, oh man, criminals and it's not going to work in long term and it's blah blah blah. I will be honest, Fidelity is a large part of the reason I am not a gazillionaire right now, because they did actually have, like, I was going to put so much money in that $330 Bitcoin at first, and they were just like, oh, we'll slow roll. You know how financial advisors do? They're like, well, you only been putting an X amount here, so let's do the same thing with Bitcoin. And maybe you do 5%. All right. So maybe they're trying to get me to do hundreds at a time. I was like, it's a little too low for me right now. They'll just trust me on this one. And lo and behold, that was in 2016. 9 years later, Fidelity is like, hey, y'all, we got a stable coin. And this is what I say, that you can't let them reshape the narrative, right? We have to keep the narrative. Shows like this are important, even if they're only touching a few thousand people a day or whatever. Good, let's get a bunch of them in so they can touch everybody, which is why we have so many creators here. It's important, because if not, they will steal and reshape the narrative. And I wouldn't even if I could guess, by next year, 2 years from now, you better believe Fidelity will have commercials being ran that says, we've always been with crypto. Here's how we started stablecoin. Like, that will be the messaging you're going to get. By the end of the next 2 or 3 years, people are going to think Fidelity is freaking Satoshi Nakamoto or BlackRock. They can be like, one of those folks over there is Satoshi Nakamoto. All right. Other than that, that is the show for today. I'm looking at the last few comments. Jake said he was still stupid to give up authority to get his company taken. That's on him no matter what. Oh, okay. Looking at the last guy. Who was that? Supposedly the judge dropped Twitter because of Bitboy. Okay, so it was because of that. And he's saying uh Bitboy was stupid to get his company taken. I feel you on that. The crypto influencer additionally alleged that Judge Childs removed her social media accounts as a result of receiving emails. Okay, so it's just some back and forth stuff. We'll figure out more tomorrow. All right, other than that, like I said, that's the show for today. We will be rescheduling the CEO from Dell DeFi, and I will be off tomorrow. I will see you all on Friday. News cycle has been kind of slow, so I'm sure Friday will be an exciting day. And I'll put the link in the chat too. Feel free to call in Friday. Either pop your twin, go ahead and show your terrible coin that nobody's going to buy, or call in and tell me something I got